o'clock, almost 10. I've been procrastinating about things today. Um, just going through and thinking, just going through and thinking. I guess maybe not procrastinating, maybe it was, but just looking at the world affairs, some of the things about, what's happening in the world right now, and just kind of mulling it all over because I find it kind of interesting when I look at um, things that are happening and listening to what people have to say. And it really makes me kind of wonder what um, the heart of it all, I guess. So, and then I go and I look at my astrology and say, yeah, things are getting a little bit crazy and things are a little bit nutters. I wasn't really going to come on today too much. I mean, the moon's at 27 degrees, just ending in Taurus, which is beautiful. Uh, Neptune is still at that 0 degrees. It's going to go up to 1 degrees before it goes retrograde. Pluto is slowing down and it'll be going retrograde. It's at 3 degrees, but it's going to stay in Aquarius. Transformation and change, you know? It's the more the more you start to kind of look at the world in a different viewpoint. Um, Yesterday, my youngest came over and uh, Steve wanted to know if he was going to vote, and he said yes. And then who he said he was going to vote didn't go over too well. And I was just like, well, thank goodness he's going to go out and vote. Like, I mean, that's his prerogative. That's his thinking about it. Um, my kids are pretty independent within their thinking, and sometimes they don't agree with a lot of things. They don't agree with what mom says. They think mom's a little bit loopy in her thoughts and in what her belief systems. So, which is fine. But hopefully one day they come around or they see things in a different way, and just still to have that open dialogue with everyone, and not make it where just because they don't agree with you, that's the be all end all, right? And that's where it's very important to come into this divineness, this beauty. I mean, we got this beautiful Aries sun and moon in Taurus, and I feel it kind of like, okay, this is really beautiful time to take that leadership, to stand up in that leadership, to allow yourself to go forward and walk forward. Neptune has a little bit of pizzazz in there, and Venus, she's lapping up everything she can in Pisces. And, you might not be able to get all your formal thoughts through because of um, where Mercury is. Of course, my thoughts go out the door when I go, what planet? Mercury. So just take today in stride, right? Don't try and force things to be a certain way or have things to be a certain way. This is about looking at maybe new ways of doing things. Uh, Maybe you don't agree with what everybody says, but then take a step back because worldview can change so suddenly. What you thought was truth is now not, and what wasn't truth is now, right? So things can change just on a drop of a dime, and allow yourself to be open to that change, right? Don't be hardcore, this is definitely the truth, because the only thing that I find that is ever definitely the truth is God. That's a constant. That never changes. Whatever's, it's a full-fledged ahead. That energy is not going to change. But what you're going to see things change rapidly. What you thought was a lie is now a truth, and what is actually truth is now a lie, and vice versa. It's where the openness, don't get staunch that it has to be a certain way, or it is that person, or that person is it. And I think that's hugely where people are going to falter with this, a lot of this energy coming in. And, with this last day with the moon in Taurus is very yummy. I'm going to call it a yummy energy because it's exalted. It loves to be there. My number 2 son has a moon in Taurus, and yeah, he's very kind-hearted. He's very loving. He's a Libra, and with the rising sign of Aquarius. So he's got a lot of knowledge, that internal knowledge that's there with him, and he's got that sweetness. Everybody loves Owen. And this is too where, my daughter has a 29-degree, just almost in Taurus. I did think, until we re-looked up her birth date, um, she's at that just like almost like a day or seconds before going into Taurus kind of thing. But she's got that moon in Aries, and you can tell, like, she's feisty, she's fiery, she's got that internal oomph. And then, of course, being an Aquarius, it's like that, that fire and that spark really wanting to get out in there and go there and do things. And, you can see that within her. And me being this moon in Cancer, wanting to support them all, always wanting to be that support person, and always taking the benefit of the doubt with people and with situations. And I find, like, right now, it's interesting because a person I follow, he's a good person, and hearing everything that he's going through and stuff like that. And then, you know, um, I love it when people say, "Oh, I'm just like, I'm fighting for everything and I have no money and blah, blah." And then you just see them on this fantastic vacation and driving Mercedes Benz and, big trucks and, all of this stuff. Like, you're just like, oh, wow. I mean, I have no money and I'm driving this vehicle that's ready to break down. Like, I mean, to me, that's basically having no money, right? So I find it interesting. I do. I find it very interesting. So you sit back and you got to watch people, and you got to let people live the way that they need to live and do what they need to do. And what's being played out now right now on the big screen and in our lives, just take it all with a grain of salt. Really. It's, this election. I know it's like, "Oh, it's the end." Rah, rah." I'm like, you know what? It's a grain of salt. It's a grain of salt, right? It's like, yeah, do your due diligence, do what you need to do. But at the end, it's like it'll be what it's going to be, right? It is, looking at that grain of salt and knowing that it's not all the be all end all. You think it is. There's craziness that happens in the world that feels like the be all end all. I'm listening to a track with oh my goodness, and I forget his name. Oh my god, it's so horrible. But it's about Nagasaki and the bomb being dropped. And he's one of the survivors. He's a converted atheist um, into being Catholicism, and just the horror of the bomb being dropped. And Nagasaki was the second target, because the first target was too clouded. They couldn't drop it over there, and then they saw the cathedral, and then they just dropped the bomb because they're almost out of fuel, and they wouldn't make it back to base if they didn't. But it's, things how they changed in an instant. And I mean, listening to his story and listening to everything that's happened in his life, but listening to a lot of miracles that happened in his life is just profoundly making me think, political systems. Like, he lived in Japan. He fought in the army, when they went up against China. He was a medical doctor and a radiologist. And a lot of what he did for discovery with radiology, I mean, is some of the technology we use today. And but his belief system at the end of the day, he knew that, there's something bigger than him in the grand scheme of things, and that through the horrific of what happened with Nagasaki and understanding, people's, horror, going in YouTube, I need my phone, feeling that horror that happened there, right? But he found, where there was something greater than, than what the agenda was, than what everything was being said was, right? And that was a time of crazy war, that was a time of World War II and the whole bit, right? And it just really made me think that, people are getting all up, but there's a grander scheme in it all, through it all, right? And through the horror of what we think it should be, or what we get so passionate about. And I'm finding that, okay, that, taking a step back, that there is a grander scheme, and we have to step into that grace, that divine will, and that divine grace. And I'm going to be sending out some more meditations about divine grace. Maybe that's because I've been listening to things about divine grace, before doing these meditations today. And I just think it's so important for us to step into that realm, and be able to come into a place where, yeah, there's some crazy crap that's going on out there, and the drama that people are in, and listening to the drama that people are in. Of course, we love, I mean, come on, who doesn't like to listen to other people's drama? I mean, I know some people say, "Well, I don't." Well, good on ya. Good on you if you don't wanna listen to it. I mean, this is why reality TV does so well, because people love the fucking drama. They love to watch the housewives, and, oh my god, they have, look at all those women just cackle, and, people get in, or they read the gossip magazines, and, they want, "Oh my god, look at this, the National Enquirer, my mom used to call it, shit for the shit house. It's what you read when you're on the toilet. But people just, thrive on it. People Magazine and all of that. TMZ, I mean, these guys, I mean, it's a billion-dollar industry, really. But you just gotta take your step back and say, "Okay, how," you know, what do I find important in my life? What is the importance in my life, right? And, when you start coming into perspective of what those importance are, it's how some of the horrific things that happen in the world, but there's a beauty that comes in it. Sometimes it takes a while to find that beauty, to dig back, and to take back the layers of the atrocities, and to find that spark, to find that beauty, to find that blossoming. Um, oh, I'll figure out her name. Um, she the rose. Let's see, the rosary. Said bathroom by a woman. I think it was Rwanda. No. Um. Oh yeah. Rwanda genocide survivor shares story of a prayer clutching her father's rosary, and she's been on Hay House and everything, and she talks about this miracle where they were, stranded in a bathroom, in a tiny bathroom with 7 other women for 91 days, and surviving the unprecedented, um, genocide that was going on around her, and they prayed the rosary. I mean, for her to come out with, Newman on Faith and Hope, for her to come out, and then she ended up coming to the States and got her education, and it was, like, through something that was so tragic how, um, through her faith and prayer made such a change, and she's able to bring that to the world. Uh, how that, prayer changed her life and how God changed her life. I mean, that's a constant. That's a constant. And we're gonna find that, the changes that happen within our lives and within this world are something that the one thing that we can pass on, that is always going to be constant, is our faith. And if we can pass that on to the next generation and pass that on to our children, I think that's gonna be the greatest thing that we do in our lifetime. And in doing that and standing firm in that love and in that, divineness. So I'm gonna pull some cards and then got some work to do and get some work done. And I'm gonna take my little animal out. I think the animal's gonna take me out because I need to get back into walking. Oh, look at card that jumps out, the world. Look at that, the world. So things are changing. Things are ending, things are changing. We're at an end of a cycle. We're starting into something new, something that, is unprecedented. We just it's so unknown, and it is just being written with every footstep that we take, and how we want it to be written. How do we want it to be seen? And and through that, it's like, yeah, it's going to be fast and furious. Actually, it came up this way. I pulled it this way, right? Um, this is going to be, we got to take our time with things. Don't try and force things. If you're going to try and force things and force through it and stuff like, it's not going to be a good thing, you know. So allow yourself some time. It is a crazy world right now, and we're going to have to watch what our battles are and which direction we want to go into. And feeling very subdued, I guess you can say right now. And yeah, just take some time today. I think it's that moon in Capricorn or moon in Taurus at the end really sets you into a different mind tone and direction. I mean, being a Cancer and being a moon baby with a Cancer moon, Scorpio with a Cancer moon, Cancer rising, it's like, wow, I can tell when the moon's in a certain one. Earth signs really make it heavy for me when the moon is in an earth sign. It's difficult sometimes for me to get up, get active, but I really have to push it with all of that. So I'm going to send you guys out so much love. You're going to make some labels today. That's beautiful. Have a blessed one, everybody. And we'll talk to you guys all soon. Yeah, have a great day. Bye bye.